back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today, we are sitting down with Mr. OFO fanboy Josh himself.
What's up?
And Miss Kira Ann. What's up, Kira?
No.
Oh, I'm going to say it for sure.
Kira Ann?
Yeah.
My middle name?
Yeah, why not?
Ugh.
You called me Jeremy on one of the past episodes.
I said Scotty.
Oh,
and
no, you said
Snooch.
Jeremy. No, you said the J word. You absolutely did say it.
That might have been Freudian.
Oh,
I mean-
no, you said all three names, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, and Matt was like, what are you talking about?
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Can we restart?
Next.
No, there's no restarting this. I can delete out it, but
Thank you.
I probably won't.
Next.
Kira Jean Louise.
Kara Jane.
Kira Jean.
Well, Scott, here we are. I think we're somewhere in November, and we're getting ready to start approaching the holiday season. So Thanksgiving is first, and hopefully we'll have a Talking Turkey episode somewhere between here and Thanksgiving. But after Thanksgiving comes holiday season.
The holiday season.
The holiday season, it could be Christmas, it could be Hanukkah, it could be the New Year, it could be somebody's birthday in January.
Kwanzaa, everything.
It could be. I was alluding to my birthday there, but
Diwali?
you missed that one.
When's your birthday?
Sometime in January.
Sometime in
Yeah,
January.
it's middle January, like the 16th, 14th, something like that.
Somewhere in there. You were all around it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Might
So-
have did that intentionally.
So I wanted to ask you,
It's birthday.
You were shocked I knew that, weren't you?
fairly, you must stalk me. Fairly good question here as we approach the holidays. How do you go about buying a bottle of bourbon for someone as a gift?
I think that's a great question, and that's something we're definitely going to dive into for this episode. So before we talk about that,
No, come on. We're already talking about
well,
it.
okay, let's talk about it then. All right, so
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, the best way to buy a bourbon gift for somebody, I think, is I would ask a couple of questions of a person before I bought a bottle. So if I was going to buy you a bottle, I'd be like, hey, Josh, so
No, you'd say, hey, old faux fanboy, what am I buying you?
I would say, OFO fanboy, what do you like? And you'd be like, oh, I really love OFO.
I really like some Jim Beam.
Oh,
That's
my
right.
word.
But there will be some people that say, hey, I like Jim Beam. So
Look.
if somebody likes Jim Beam, right, you know that they like that flavor profile. So then you look at the Jim Beam family and you're like, so what's a nice bottle that you might want to get out of the Jim Beam family? Maybe it's a Parker's Heritage. Maybe it's a Knob Creek store pick. There's lots of things that you can look at in those situations. Booker's. So that's what I would suggest is I would say, hey, if you know somebody drinks something, even if it's Makers, you could say, well, what's in the Makers family that's better than a standard bottle of Makers? You might want to buy a Makers 101 or you might want to buy a Makers 46. So those are the things that I would tell people. Find somebody, if somebody likes Woodford, maybe you find, a double oak instead, or maybe you get a double oak or a 5 grain, or you look for one of the more exotic bottles that they have sitting out there. So you want to find something I feel like that's in the network or in the family of what they like, and just step it up a notch.
So for my birthday, Old Forester birthday bourbon would be swell, Scott.
Old Forester birthday. I bet it would be swell. If I could find one, it would be really nice.
All right, I'm going to start looking for that.
You're not going to find it.
You don't know. I don't know.
All right, so good question. What if it's somebody? We'll start. Say it's a client at work, and maybe you don't know them that well. What would you go and get first that you can get on the shelf?
So if I was going to go get an everyday shelfer for somebody, I'm in that gift range of that $50 to $75 range.
Sure.
Is the way I would look at it.
Good bottles.
Same.
So because I don't want to get somebody something cheap, and I don't want to get them Woodford, even though Woodford would not be a bad bottle to buy a person, right? Because Woodford's kind of safe.
It would be for me because every time I smell it, I get bananas.
Right.
And I really struggle with drinking bananas after I smell them.
Right.
You all in this banana thing.
Well, I mean,
don't
it's one of
understand.
the flavor profiles that they are most synonymous with, and the smells that you get from Woodford or Jack Daniels is bananas.
So I didn't know that up until about a year and a half ago. I went and did a Woodford distillery tour, and this was after we had gone to Buffalo Trace and after we had gone to Wild Turkey. So we decided, hey, we're going to make this final stop at Woodford. And we're on the tour, we're in the Rick House, finishing up, getting ready to do the tasting. And the tour guide says, all right, now I want you to pick that glass up and I want you to smell it. And you're going to smell bananas. And I had never smelled bananas before then, and I don't know what it was, but now,
That's
bananas. Bananas Forester.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that one.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where that comes from, is the whole banana explanation there.
But I mean, bananas are a whole other kind of smell and tropical. I've never associated bourbon with anything
But
tropical.
I've smelled lots of tropical fruits out of different bourbons.
I guess I'm learning different things.
You know, I don't know. We need to get an aroma kit and run through that with you one time.
That'd be super fun.
I think it'd be fun.
All right, so I got off
back
topic.
to digress back to where I was at. So in my situation, if I'm going to buy that bottle, I'm probably going to look for something. Maybe I would do a Knob Creek store pick.
Yep.
Maybe I would do a Russell's Reserve, bottle. I might even look for like a 1910 or a 1920 because both of those are probably at the cap of that where you would buy a gift, I think, for somebody that you really didn't know that well. But I think all those things are kind of safe. They're all in the bourbon category, even though the 1920 is a high rye. I think they're all really, really in that really good solid bourbon.
So if I'm picking a bottle, I'm looking to pick something that I can have a conversation about.
Okay.
Something that I know a little bit, maybe that the average person may not know. Somebody that drinks Woodford may not know something about Old Forester. So they may not know about an Old Foe single barrel pick that I was lucky to get my hands on 4 or 5 of them and share with. But something like that, or, a trip up to Ohio to go pick up 2 cases of Old Weller Antique. Everybody seems to like Old Weller Antique, which comes into my next question or comment is, what if you know nothing about them and what they like bourbon-wise? Is it always a win to give a bottle of OWA?
I would say no. And the reason I do say that is because I feel like weeders are a very distinct flavor. I think most people that drink bourbon are drinking bourbon that are a 4-grain or they're a rye base. Beyond corn, obviously, being the number one ingredient. So I would think that you would stick with what I recommended. That's just my humble opinion. Kira, what about you? If you're buying a bottle of bourbon for a friend, family member, or even somebody you don't like Josh said, somebody you don't really necessarily know that well, but you're like, hey, I really need to do something nice for this person.
Well,
what do you pick them up?
I got my sister some Calumet the other evening for her housewarming.
Calumet? You mean Calumet?
Is that how you say it?
I don't know. It's called Calumet Farms is what I always heard it was called.
I got that.
But
French
Calumet is
background.
probably correct.
It's from Lexington, right?
Well,
Yeah,
but they also
Versailles.
say Versailles.
Versailles.
So there it is.
It's Versailles,
I know. Thank you. That's why I said Calumet.
Yeah.
unless you're from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I was born there but raised here.
You're
Are you giving me shit?
No,
Anyway.
you're probably 100%
So
right.
the
I'm
first
giving you
time-
shit because my family's from Versailles.
I know that. And so
Versailles.
the first time I had that, I'm not quite sure which one I had, which was with one of my vet buddies when he got married. And it was delicious. Like we did a shot and then sipped on it the rest of the evening. And so I can't remember which one it was.
They've got like a 10, a
10, a
12,
12,
and a
and a
14.
14?
Yeah.
I think they do have
and
14.
I think I got her the 12. No, I got her the 10.
Yep.
She already had the 12. That's what it
Gotcha.
was. Now I'm ready to actually want to do a bourbon tasting with her. And she loves you.
Can I ask? Let me ask
That's
you a
funny.
question, Kira. Why did you pick a Calumet?
Because I love it.
So it didn't have anything to do with being a really cool ass bottle.
Really? Thank you. No, I could give shit about that bottle. I knew it was good
Can I ask why you picked up the Legion?
because I saw the sherry cask and what he had given me the other day. I wanted to try it, and yes, it was a lovely. I like the bottle.
I was just wondering if it's because it's a pretty bottle.
Because it was pretty.
So Scott, does that make a difference to you when you're buying somebody a bottle as a gift?
No.
No, I understand that.
No bearing at all on whether or not a bottle is pretty or not.
Honestly, it was just there, and I was like, sherry cask, and it was real familiar because I just had that from
Right.
Starlight. So
No.
yeah.
Okay. So the sherry cask wasn't the Legion, was it?
Yes, it has.
You still
so the
haven't
original
tried
I
that.
tried them. I let her try the whiskey and wishes pick from Starlight.
Oh, okay.
That sherry cask finish. That's the one she's talking about that she tried here.
I gotcha. So, I mean, the bottle as a gift kind of has something to do with it, though,
It's pretty.
because it's got a story to
Yeah.
it, whatever the bottle reason
Yeah.
is.
So if I was buying somebody a gift just to be hoity-toity, I would probably get them Blanton's. I would probably get them,
Blanton?
something. Yeah, Blanton's, because everybody loves Blanton's. They love the horses.
it's
They-
a really cool bottle.
It is a cool looking bottle. It is, So I think if I was going to go with that hoity-toity end, I probably would pick Blanton's in that situation.
Do you know I have not bought a single bottle of Blanton's this year because of COVID?
Wow.
Last year, you and I were taking
Oh,
trips
shit. We were probably buying-
around to a variety of stores in a variety of locale. And I bet I had a case of Blanton's for the holiday to give out as gifts. This year I have 0 Blanton's.
Do we need to change that?
Yes.
All right, we'll figure that one out.
I don't want to pay $120 though a bottle.
I think we can do better than that. I think we just got to call the right people. I think
right.
we might be able to find you some stuff there.
But Blanton's, when I said Weller, I mean Blanton's is in that family. And Blanton's is one of those things that even if they're not a strong bourbon drinker, they say that's a really cool bottle, and that horse on top's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If I was going to be bougie and I'm picking it for the bottle and I'm going that route, I'm going Blanton's or Rock Hill Farms. They're both unique, cool-looking bottles.
All right.
They got their own thing.
Let me stop you there. You're not going to find Rock Hill Farms on a shelf somewhere, though.
No, that's true. And you're not going to find Blanton's on a shelf for that matter. I mean, so I said if I was going to be bougie. So if I was going to go out and find a bottle for somebody, if it was somebody that I really needed to get something for, that's what I would do.
If you're looking for me,
if an everyday
I'm going
shelf
for an Old Forester barrel strength.
Old Forester barrel strength. All right, that's
And
easy.
see, they
and
would
it's it's like $80, but you're worth it, Josh.
But they would.
Thank you.
They would probably expect that from you because of your background, and you're a bourbon drinker, and you want to elevate someone's palate, which is why I'm here.
I hear you.
Okay.
So
look at me. I'm drinking all this.
But Blanton's checks all those boxes.
You think
it's
so?
It's a
No,
pretty
I've had
bottle.
it, yeah.
It's got a horse on top. You can talk about the horse on top and the letter on it, and that the horse is running, and they can go collect all of the letters and spell out Blanton's, and then they find out they could go buy them for $3 at the gift shop later on after they buy all of the bottles.
Oh man, who knew? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
But it's a cool bottle to talk about, and it's a lower proof. I think Blanton's is 93 proof.
93, 94, I don't know.
93 proof. So it's a lower proof bottle that somebody that may not be a everyday drinker would say, I really like that.
No.
And they get a little kick out of it.
Yeah. So that's where I would be in the bougie bottle episode or scenario. That's where I would go, is one of those two.
So, I mean, we do a lot of work in southern Indiana. We're across the river from Louisville. So for me, I might take a go at getting some kind of a bottle out of Starlight just for the fun of being Starlight Distillery located here this side of the river.
Agreed.
And people will be really shocked about the flavor or the variety of flavors that you can get, whether they're finished in a sherry cask or finished in a maple syrup barrel or whatever they're finished in. Kind of adds a unique thing to talk about.
Which, by the way, that is a tasty ass bottle.
The maple?
Somebody sent me a 2-ounce sample of the maple syrup finished one. I'm waiting on a sample right now of the Rickhouse rye that was finished in an apple brandy cask, and I'm waiting on a peach brandy finished bourbon.
I want to try that one.
So
too.
you try to give something that they know, but I will spend the year, just going as you're talking to people, getting to know people, finding out what they like, finding out if they like rye, if they like wheat, if they're high corn or they're a no-wheater. I'm a no-wheater personally. I'm going to go, as an old foe, I'm going to go no wheat at all. Russell's Reserve, a pure no wheat at all kind of thing. So you find out what they like and then see what you can find. So that I brought up the Weller only because I ended up landing a box or a case of Weller earlier this year.
So let's flip the script. So if you find out somebody is like, hey, I love rye, and I'm a rye whiskey drinker, what's the rye you would pick out to give them for a holiday gift?
That's a really good question because I don't know the answer to that. If I thought about it, I could probably come up with something, but I've got a whole bunch of rye and maybe a Willet. I think there's a Willet family estate that's a 3 or 4 year rye. Pretty darn good. Starlight, speaking of Starlight, has some very good ryes.
That's the one I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have their casks, their family reserve that are always excellent. We got to try some of those earlier this year.
Yep.
I don't recall the price range, but I think it's
closer. Those are in the $100 range.
I think it's close.
Estate ones are
closer to that $100 range. But General Rye, Russell's Reserve has a really good rye. So big turkey fan. So you can always go back to those.
How about you, Carol? If you knew somebody was a rye drinker, what would you pick them up?
Okay, so I'm not an aficionado just yet, but I really like Bullet Rye.
I was going to actually say the Bullet Rye is actually a really solid rye.
And it's kind of got that for pretty bottles. It's that old antiquarian type of look.
Yeah,
And
apothecary. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes, love it. Yeah, but
the bullet bottle's cool.
But for those are people that, are maybe introduced to rye. But I'm telling you, that Starlight rye I had that you gave me in my first episode was lovely.
So the funny thing is with Starlight is the fact that they have an indigenous rye, and then they have their standard rye. So one's, I think, like a Canadian rye, or maybe it's like a Northern American type rye that they use. But then they have an actual indigenous rye, which is the rye they grow on their farm. That's their cover for their regular crops. So
Would you give anybody Whistle Pig?
no, I wouldn't give anybody Whistle Pig for anything. Like I've never found a Whistle Pig that I've just like died to have, or that I just was dying to drink, or anything else. I've tried a few. I've just not been a big Whistle Pig fan. And I don't think it's bad. It's not something that I have a preference to taste. If I was going to honestly get it a rye, I was going to say I would probably look for like some kind of bullet and see if I could find a barrel strength. But I would also go for a Knob Creek barrel strength rye. I think their Knob strength, their barrel strength rye, if you can get a store pick, especially, those things are really good. They're super tasty.
So speaking of Knob Creek, I would go all in on a Knob Creek 115 proof rye.
Okay.
Every day of the week.
Okay.
That is a phenomenal,
Do you have that?
phenomenal rye.
Let's get it.
We'll get it out here in a little bit. So yeah, I mean, so those are the things I would go with. I would also go with a Starlight, just like you said, Southern Indiana.
So is Starlight still affiliated with Huber's and things of that nature, or no?
So it's the same. So when you think of Huber's, the restaurant, that is actually a different
the
Huber.
winery.
Right. So the wine, yes. So it's all the same. Yes. So
Okay.
Carl T. and his family, Ignatius or something like that, Huber. Or
Dude,
whatever.
I don't know.
Honestly,
took the tour.
I'm not a fan of the Huber's wine because I think everything they have is so sweet.
Right.
Everything, even their dry wines, so sweet. So I was surprised when we had the bourbon flight how lovely it all was.
You know what's going to come out right about the same time this podcast gets released?
What?
Yeah.
Pops Reserve, baby.
Reserves. So learn me.
It's
Tell me.
super
You know what
sweet.
they're doing? So this year there's
It's finished in a bourbon barrel.
finished in a
The
bourbon
wine?
barrel.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Have you really never had Pops Reserve?
I guess I haven't.
She lives under a rock.
Hey. Evidently.
I've had the last year's been a lot. Okay.
So they've got the white label Pops Reserve, which
Right.
is just the standard Pops. They've got the double barrel, which gets finished in, I believe, two. It gets pushed through two bourbon barrels at some point. And this year, and I don't know that this has ever been out, they've got the blackberry bourbon barrel finish.
Oh.
So they've got their.
Becky might like that.
I have some.
Of course you do.
Has it been out before?
Yeah. They released it.
Not blackberry whiskey.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
This,
something.
this
what I
is
was
wine.
saying.
Oh, wine
It's
finished in the
blackberry
blackberry whiskey.
wine that's
Oh.
been finished in.
Wait, blackberry wine finished in the whiskey barrels.
Yes, in the blackberry whiskey barrels.
Blackberry whiskey. Oh.
I bet that would be tasty.
So that's out. So we bought a case of it.
Oh,
so
did you?
I'm just
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mandy's in the
She's like
wine
Huber's
club.
Wine Club. Yep.
So we bought cases because you got to buy everything by the box. Apparently, with their wine is the club. But
Okay.
looking forward to that.
I'll
those
take
may
one bottle of that to try.
those may make really cool gifts as well.
I agree. I used to
Unique.
give a bunch of wine, Huber's wine out.
So that's where I would be at on the rye family. I also would not be opposed to, and it's only because most people probably have never tried it or had it, would be maybe a New Riff single barrel rye. I would find one of theirs to give away as a gift because I like their rye. And if you could find a Balboa, I would say that's the best way to go. I really like their Balboa ryes.
Yeah, initially you all knew I didn't like New Riff at all, but one of those keg liquor picks really grew on me. So sometimes a single barrel store pick is a unique gift all in itself, regardless of what it is. For the most part, regardless of what it is.
Right. No, and that's the way. And me, I guess I've just become
A snob.
Yes, absolutely. A bourbon snob through this whole process that, I used to drink a lot of, just regular old Four Roses, single barrels. And then I started buying Four Roses single barrel strength. And
You
then
love some Crown back in the day.
Oh, dude, I used to drink so. I
much
stopped.
Crown.
I stopped drinking Crown probably 10 years ago.
I
or
noticed.
15
I'm
years
like,
ago.
there's no Crown. in
You
this
get me a
house.
bottle of Crown, we're done talking.
Yeah, I mean, like literally. I mean, the funny thing is, the last bottle of Crown I had was a half gallon. And Mark Dixon, one of my good friends, he's like my second father.
Can we love me some Dixon?
Yeah, the Dixonator.
love him.
He used to say it's in the dictionary. Like he'd make up shit and he would say it was in the dictionary instead of the dictionary. Just weird shit he would make up. But anyway, Mark was like, "What are you gonna do with this?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna give it to you." And he goes, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, just take it." And he's like,
sounded
"All right."
just like
So,
him.
so he took it, and then like 2 weeks later, he made me a piece of stained glass. And I don't know which one it is, but it's around here
That
someplace.
sounded a little bit like, you serious, Clark?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I mean,
Griswold's?
Yeah, like,
I'm telling you, I wish he drank like new bourbon a little more.
Yeah. So one day we're just going to go over to Mark's house and we're going to hang out and drink with him, and you're going to be like, "Holy shit, this dude is nuts!" And it's in a good way nuts. But he literally lives right down the street from you. You have to pass his house every day when you leave your house to go home or to work or anywhere else. I mean, he's right. So I mean, all we got to do is just get right there.
All good.
Listen,
Yeah.
you said your own neighborhood multiple times on
You
here,
did
so I don't know
not
how
need
you
to
can do
say
that.
all that. I didn't even say it. I thought it, and I was like, "Oh, I know exactly where he is."
Listen, Josh has literally mentioned the neighborhood he lives in multiple times. If you really
Crazy
listen to
Springs?
it. Yes,
Crazy Springs.
you've mentioned
good.
it multiple times. But
So-
anyway,
So, Kira,
Yes, sir.
if Scott was to get you a bottle of bourbon,
Oh, my word.
here or a whiskey,
Yes.
you know, in your limited time hanging out with Scott drinking bourbon, not that you have a limited time with him, but what would you want?
Whatever that creature from the Black Lagoon one was,
Oh.
I think I fell in love with.
so it was a
I fell in
Starlight.
love.
It's a Starlight mythical pick that I went on
Okay.
Was
with Chad and them.
Is it a 4 grain?
It is. No, that one's actually a 3 grain. It's a high rise, 60, 20, 20.
No wheat.
No wheat.
There's no wheat.
Nope.
Okay, so I'm still learning all this.
Yep.
You know, but
So 3 grain traditionally are going to be one of two things. They're going to be corn, wheat, and barley, or corn, rye, and barley. Those are your 3 grains you're most likely going to get.
Cool.
I'm liking this
One's
cherry
considered
picker
a high
too.
rye. One would be considered a wheater.
Yeah.
So
I think this cherry picker by the Single Barrel Old Forester or whatever could be a daily drinker, honestly. But I don't daily drink.
It is a really good daily drinker.
It's lovely.
Until it's gone.
the real problem is there's only so many of them, and they'll all be gone soon.
That's
Why are we whispering?
I don't know.
Because Kira started it. We all just wanted to join in the party.
No, you're right. And
Try to behave.
as much as the fanboy loves Old Foe, the cherry picker, a really close number 2.
I will put a search out and see if I can find a cherry picker for you someplace, like a full bottle.
Talk about a 180 because old folk I just would be like, ugh. And I'm enjoying this flight for today.
Yeah, and I think that's
So thank
the
you,
thing.
OFO fanboy.
What up?
We're not even at OFO fanboy's house. I mean, like shit, he's got way more OFO than I do, and I have a ridiculous amount.
Actually, there was a chef I used to run around with, and he introduced me to the OFO, and he was the one who told me that it was similar to Woodford. I'm like, you're so full of shit. And then I had so many bad drunks with it. So
Yeah, and I really honestly think that
Siding fidens, you bitch.
people that are drinking standard old school OFO, I could definitely see where you would compare it to Woodford. Just my personal opinion.
But I don't even drink any of those anymore. So
No. I'm a snob. I mean,
Going
I
up a
literally-
tier,
It's
so there we go.
single barrel strength. I mean, that's about all I drink anymore.
I got you. Sounds good to me. I mean, right now, if someone were picking for me, and you guys please go out and get me a bottle, Old Forester barrel strength, single barrel, or a Russell's Reserve, you know, one of the single barrel 10-year picks. I think they're all plus or minus a couple months from 10 years typically.
Yeah.
So
9 and some change or 10 and some change.
awesome bottles all the time, but you could give the Weller to Scott. I don't really need that.
So let me ask you a question, Josh. If I was going to pick you up
Old Foe fanboy.
Yeah, OVO fanboy. If I was going to pick you up a Russell's, is there a Rick House that you prefer?
CNF. Is it CNF?
So you like Camp Nelson?
Yeah.
Warehouse F?
Yeah.
All right, so CNF. You know, Total Wine just dropped like 3 barrels of it.
So you guys, I think I've probably told you, I've been on a Old Foe kick all summer as my summer warm weather whiskey.
Yeah, it's 90 proof, right?
And
You gotta have a warm weather.
I'm curious about that too, because it, like I said, I made that bourbon mimosa thing the other day, and I was like, when it was still warm, I'm like, ooh, because normally I don't drink bourbon in the winter, bourbon in the summer, but I like it.
Old Forester actually has, I think it's one of their 90 proofs listed as they call it MTS warm weather whiskey, if I remember well.
Nice.
Remember it right.
Yep.
So my warm weather, I've been drinking Old Foe, and now that we're transitioning into November, fall, Thanksgiving, Russell's is about to make the comeback here.
So are you worried and concerned that the 90 proof's going away?
I am. That's why I bought about 20 of them this year. How many did you buy?
Oh God, I don't have 20. I probably got 8 or 10 down there.
I think I'm sitting somewhere around 20 because I was concerned about the 90 proofs going away. and I love it as a daily drinker. So, I mean, it's not a big deal for a bottle of that to disappear in a week. And it's just really smooth, really good, lots of flavor to it.
Gotcha. But now we're coming into summer. You're gonna
We're into
transition. Or coming into winter, yes. You're gonna transition to the turkey, the warm weather stuff, the
Winter is
120.
coming.
Yeah,
I did it.
Winter is coming.
I said it. I did it.
it's turkey time. So
Turkey time.
You all in this turkey. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just having so many flashbacks from my
Well,
brief time in college.
So we're gonna work you into this, and
That just
you'll
frightens
you'll
me.
find the story, and we'll be all good.
Wild turkey frightens me.
no, it's all good. And once you come back and you try these things differently, they're just it's so different than,
I have learned
taking
though,
shots.
with it, right, and I have learned. It's when you start mixing too many things that it's no, Kira, no.
No, so honestly, it wouldn't be a bad thing to get me if somebody was out buying. I'm huge whiskey fan and just loving the variety of it. You all were talking about Legion and how you didn't like it, and I actually liked Legion. But there's a whole bunch of different things. It's just fun and exciting to set a bottle, talk about it with friends. So
one last question for everybody before we get off here for our mini Christmas gift edition. Bourbon related items. What's something that you would want to get as a nice gift that is bourbon related, maybe in we'll just say the $5 to $20 range?
bourbon balls.
Bourbon balls, okay.
I like glasses. I like really nice glasses and
You-
even
a
ice
Glencairn?
molds. I'm sorry.
A Glencairn?
The Glencairn, like the one sitting over here, my OFO Glencairns. I know you drink mainly rock glasses, yes.
I like rocks glasses.
You like rocks glasses, okay.
Yeah. Like, and it has to fit.
These are tasters.
Yeah, these are tasters. I, women have smaller hands, and I want something to fit just right, like a glove.
I need something that fits
So-
that hand.
Yeah.
had-
Oh shit.
You digress.
Man, I tell you, she just gets so bent out of shape so quick.
So I was
I hate when it gets bent.
I got to try some
bad.
bourbon balls last week or this weekend. They were called Happy Balls,
Happy balls.
Lovely.
and they're from a local somewhere between Shelbyville and Louisville. I can't remember where it was, but
Happy balls.
came in a little 4-pack of bourbon balls. These things were so darn good.
I'm excited because
my
normally I
balls
think
are
they're
happy
so.
when people rub them.
Sometimes bourbon balls are just too sweet. Too sweet. I would like to learn how to make them.
Yeah.
I would like to try them with some bourbon cream. Believe me, I'm ready to make some
So-
chocolatier things of our own.
I have tried to make bourbon balls, and I can make them. They are not pretty.
No, you got to have the molds. Candy making is not that
Real
easy.
process.
It's a lot.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, humidity.
It's like Buckeyes.
So there's a mold.
Oh, absolutely.
Any kind of silicone mold.
Yeah.
I've got little alien molds right now for
Yeah.
suckers.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always try to dip them in the little fondue melting pot kind of thing, and they always fail.
Well, that
Yeah.
might be too hot.
Yeah.
And it is all in the temperature too. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You can't control the temperature on there.
Yeah, but
With chocolate?
a true
You
candy
gotta have a
maker
candy
would,
maker.
yes, they would.
Candy
they
thermometer.
would keep it.
Oh,
The candy
yeah.
thermometer has
Yeah,
to be
and it's quick. And sometimes it's a
176 degrees or whatever it
Two-person
is.
type of
Yes.
job. So.
I just like to eat the candy. I'm not
Yes.
very good at making the candy.
So I've got some Blanton's one. I'll let you try them here in a minute when we get done here.
Thank you.
But
You know what? I was just thinking a bottle that we didn't talk about that is easily acquirable in the Louisville market between Thanksgiving and Christmas is Hancock's Reserve.
I don't know that it's that easy. It's
I
easy,
picked
but
up like
not,
4 bottles
yeah,
last
but,
year.
Well, they used to be way more. Whenever they did those Saturday releases, think about how many times you've seen one on the store shelf randomly. It's very rare.
It's a cool bottle.
Absolutely.
It's a less than 90 proof whiskey. It's a little more hard to find, but a neat bottle to give somebody.
And it's a fantastic pour. Let's not forget. I mean, for 80 proof, it is a fantastic pour, but it is just so mild.
And it comes in a nice little velvety bag.
Yeah, it's sexy. Got the red velvet bag.
All right.
So for me, I think a nice gift would be like what Kira said, a glass. But
I love glasses.
my wife's been, even for birthday presents, different things like that, she's been giving me all these little neat bourbon gadgets.
Oh.
So one of the things that I found recently, and I haven't tried using it yet, but I'm gonna do it real soon with like just a standard Buffalo Trace or something like that. It's like a spire, like a wood thing. Then it's got charred all through the grooves on it. So
like Oak and Eden?
sort of, but it's its own little like I don't know, it's like a little block of wood that's got cuts in it, and it's been charred in every one of those cuts, and it's supposed to help, basically age the bottle faster. So it'll give you a little bit more flavor or whatever during the time. You just drop it in the bottle and let it sit for like 2 weeks or a week or 3 weeks or whatever.
When I was looking for droppers recently, I found some things like that. That's interesting.
So I'm going to try that on a bottle of like Buffalo Trace or something like that, just so if I overcook something, I'm not throwing away a bunch of money. So
Right.
You're not going to waste any old Forester.
yes, I'm not going to waste anything that I really, well, it's not even that. I'm not going to waste anything that I love, or that I'm afraid that I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to go get a standard bottle of Buffalo Trace and see what I can make out of it.
Sounds good.
All right. Kira, any big ideas, guesses?
As far as
Like gifts, like other things.
I told you, I don't know. I think, I'm a dessert maker, so I love giving.
Bourbon pecan pie.
I can make some pie.
Next time we get together, you know what you need to do?
What would you like?
Make a bourbon pecan pie.
I'll make you bourbon pecan pie. Well, your birthday, right? In January?
Yeah, that's like months away. I need it before then.
I can do that for you. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, that's always good when you can have a good gift and you can give a good gift. So we have recommendations. We're saying, Russell's Reserve, Old Forester single barrels, if you can find them. I think we even said, what else? What was some of the other things? Starlight. Yes, go to Starlight. You can find some good stuff. And even their brandy's fantastic, folks. If you've not had good Spirits of French Lick, they've got some good brandy up there. So there's lots of things that you can go out and you can look for. You don't have to get Woodford. You don't have to get something, that's in those families. And not that there's anything wrong with Woodford. I like Woodford Reserve. It's a great product. It's just I think it's overdone sometimes, especially for people. If you're buying something for somebody that you don't really know them or things like that, I feel like you're copying out by getting Woodford for somebody. I think you can do a better job of picking something that they will really enjoy, and it will give them a different experience than what they've had before.
Wonderful. Happy holidays. Give me some bourbon.
Happy holidays. Absolutely. Scott, OFO fanboy, Kira Mack signing off.